Okay, good evening. Welcome to the Falls Township Board of Supervisors meeting for April 21st, 2015. We'll begin with a salute to the flag, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. Mrs. Pullen?
Mr. Galloway?
Here.
Mr. Brasky?
Here.
Mr. Harvey?
Here.
Mr. Dents?
Here.
Mr. Rocco?
Here.
Okay, thank you. We have a pretty simple, straightforward agenda this evening. Mr. Gray is retrieving the public comment sign-in sheet. Thank you. Okay, only name on the list, Rowan Kenny.
I'm right.
Sometimes I do that. I still want to be.
No glasses. You're gonna have to wing it. Since last meeting, people have been coming up asking me why I don't want to talk about Benghazi. I said, so everything I had to say about Benghazi is over with. But they said, tell us something new about the presidential election. Well, I told them a story about, I think it was 1959. Me and a couple of friends of mine was in an auditorium. I don't know whether it was in Philly, New York, or Boston. But we were listening to a speech by a young senator by the name of John F. Kennedy. And he said something that caught me. He said that the United States will never be defeated by another invading army from anywhere in the world. He said the only way you'll defeat us is from within. And I was thinking of that around a week ago. I don't know where I was going to. He says, what do you think about this race? I said, well, in '08, I voted for Hillary, but she didn't win, so when Obama took it, I won. I voted for him. In 2012, I didn't, because I seen so many discrepancies in what he was saying. Like when he says he's a black American. He's not a black American. I don't know what you call. I feel I'm white because my mother and father's white. If I was black, my mother and father's black, I feel I was black. But his mother is white. And that was the first lie I caught him in. Then I caught nothing but lies after that. And I can still remember in '59, my friend saying, this man's Catholic. I said, I know, that's his problem. I said, I don't think he'll ever get out of office. It turned out he didn't. But what I see going around the world between Christians and Muslims, and then, you know, when he said within, I start thinking, and then I got this thing, it shows Obama's, all his people work under him are Muslims. So our country's ran by Muslims. No?
No.
No?
Sorry.
You wanna read?
No, it's not
No,
true.
I didn't think you did.
No, it's not true, sir. I'll stop.
And what they're doing to Christians and Jews is ridiculous. And I might not be back because I said people like our board, not our board didn't say a thing. I thought they would. But our solicitor, no. And you don't want to see the proof I got. Good night and God bless you.
Good night. Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak? Okay. All right, move on with our next agenda item. We have a certificate of appropriateness for 133 Yardley Avenue. This is to replace a gravel driveway with a blacktop driveway. I see the owner is here. If anyone has any questions, we do have some photographs here. This is a home right across the street from Fallsington Elementary School, so I know that, you know, probably all of us have been by it, you know, many, many times. It's underneath. It did get approval from the Historic Review Board, unanimous approval. Comments or questions? Either for Ms. McCarthy, who's the owner, or any other? No?
Nothing.
Okay,
No.
all right. If there's no questions then, do we have a motion to approve the certificate of appropriateness for a blacktop driveway, 133 Yardley Avenue, Fallsington?
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Sure, thank you. All right, item 3 is Covanta Energy LLC waiver of land development. Mr. Gray?
Yes, this is for Covanta Metal Management, located on Middle Drive in Falls Township. The applicant is looking to use an existing industrial site for a processing facility. It includes installation of a truck scale, parking, total disturbance be about 1,000 feet, square feet. Presenting the applicant tonight is Mr. Mike Peters.
Good evening. My name is Mike Peters. I'm an attorney with the law firm of Eastburn & Gray, and I represent Covanta Metals Management. Just to give you a real brief overview of what the company is, Covanta Metals Management is actually a division of Covanta Energy, which is a large international company that does a really neat waste to energy process. So they put waste through a combustion process, and at the end of that process, there are some non-combustible materials that are left over, and those are pieces of metal. Those pieces of metal are then sort of in connection with their goal at recycling. Those pieces of metal are then recycled, but they first have to be cleaned. So they have ash on it from the combustion process that they went through. And what they propose to do on this site, which is located within the Keystone Industrial Port Complex, is put that metal through a sorting and cleaning process. So it would come onto the site, and we have a plan here. It's kind of small, but I think you guys were able to take a look at it beforehand. It comes onto the site. It goes into a processing area that uses what's actually an existing roof structure. So we're not building a new building. It's using an existing roof structure to sort the metal, and then it goes through a shaking process to take the ash off, and then the metal is shipped off site and the ash is shipped off site for disposal. The actual relief, or the actual land development waiver application that we're seeking is for the lease of 10 acres of ground on 1351-1 within the Keystone Industrial Port Complex. As I said before, we're not building a new building. What we are adding is a ramp. We're extending the size of a ramp to allow for two-way traffic. We're extending the access drive where needed to allow for two-way traffic, and we're adding a scale. So that's really the only development that we're doing on the property. We're adding a couple of bins for sorting, but they're just going underneath the existing roof structure. For the last 3 months or so, we've been working with your engineer's office. As of April 15th, we were told that we finally got it right when we met all technical requirements. The 3 waivers that we're requesting are from 19136D for relief from the requirement of putting curb along the access driveway. Part of the access driveway isn't actually within the lease area. It goes through 1351-1 to get out to Middle Drive. Relief from 19137B, the requirement of placing curbs along the parking area and a 12-foot setback for the parking area, and from 19178C2, which is the section that requires you to show features and property owners around the site. We've provided the material requested by the township engineer to their satisfaction. We've received approval from the Bucks County Conservation District for our erosion and sediment control plan. We've reviewed the letters from your traffic engineer and fire marshal, and will comply with those letters. My office was provided a draft resolution, which we've reviewed. We accept all the conditions in that resolution, and otherwise we thank the township staff for the time that was put into getting this thing to a point where it's ready for your review. With that, that's all I really have for you. My engineer's here. He can answer any questions. Otherwise, that's it, guys. Thank you very much.
Okay. Just before I turn over to board comments and questions, if you don't mind, and either you or the engineer, you'd have to take the microphone with you. Can you just sort of show on this diagram where the new construction's going, the scale?
Sure. Sure, I absolutely can. So if you look at the bottom of the plan here, that's where the scale is going. So you come in off of Middle Drive, you turn, and the scale's going right here. There's a temporary trailer that's associated with that scale, but it's not connected to sewer or utilities. As you continue going through, you come up, there's a small ramp here that needs to be expanded. We're expanding the access ways throughout here to allow for two-way traffic and here. And a bin, 2 bins are going here, and this area is actually the roof area that already exists. So that's the extent of what we're doing.
Okay. All right.
Did I get that right, Nick?
All right, thank you. All right, comments or questions from board members? Mr. Galloway?
Mr. Sullivan, do you have any concerns about some of the waivers?
No concerns at this time.
All right, thank you.
Huh? Vince?
No, you said you're going to comply with everything that was stated. So
With everything, yep,
I
absolutely.
appreciate your short and to-the-point presentation.
Sure.
Mr. Rock?
We have the luxury of working with the township engineer closely to get this to where it could be short, so.
So how much material were you talking about bringing in here?
You know what, do you know the actual tonnage? About 30 dump, so there's small dump trucks that come onto site, 30 a week total would be the total amount of materials coming onto site, and then as you can imagine, it would take more or less the same to take the material back off of site after it's separated.
Okay. And are you creating any new jobs?
Yes, we are. We're creating 13 new jobs, right, Nick? And we'll be before you again, I hope, to develop more of the parcel that's up here for another processing facility, so that there will be several additional jobs then.
Okay.
The company is very excited to be in Falls. The site's perfect for them, and they look forward to making an investment in the community, so.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay. That's all I had.
Okay. You talked about the material being combusted. This is basically the waste that comes out of that combustion, what's left over. Where is the combustion facility?
You know what? There's 40 of them throughout the United States. There are 2 in Pennsylvania, 1 out by Hershey, and 1 in Montgomery County.
Okay.
But the sites are all over the place. We'll probably be processing materials from Pennsylvania just because it's close.
It's closest. Okay. I was just curious.
Yep.
A couple of the, I wanted to reference, and I, like Mr. Dent, I appreciate your, first off, the plan itself is very clean. You know, it's pretty straightforward, so I appreciate that. We get a lot of plans that aren't always that clean, and, you know, it takes a lot longer for us and for you, so we appreciate that. There are a couple of letters I just want to make sure that you're aware of and you're okay with. One from the Fire Marshal's Office dated April 15th, 2015.
We've reviewed it, and we will comply with it.
Okay. And there's one from our Remington Vernick, which is our traffic engineer. He had a couple details, you know, handicap striping, detail for parking.
We've reviewed it, and we will comply with
Okay.
it.
And there was also March 16th letter, which our Shade Tree Commission has reviewed and was asking for some plantings to go in a grassy area. Have you seen that?
We are able to do that,
Okay.
yes.
All right, great.
I did have one more question.
Sure.
So do you have any of these other plants in the United States?
You know what? Honestly, I'm not sure. It's the first. Okay, so this is actually their first program. It's a model program for this sorting process.
Yeah, when you said you had 40
They're
plants, I was-
combustion
Yeah, combustion. I
facilities.
was wondering if you had these types of plants anywhere else in the,
Frankly, I'm not sure how they're doing the sorting now. I think that this
you're
is.
paying someone else to do it or something,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
right.
Cool, that's all I had.
They were outsourcing the sorting.
Right. To different companies, okay.
Yep.
Okay. And everything comes in by truck? There's no rail or no ship or anything?
Nope.
Okay. Just,
Nope.
all right.
Small dump trucks.
Okay. All right. Other comments or questions?
No.
Okay. Is there any public comment? See no hands. All right, Mr. Gray, this will be Resolution 1509.
09.
Okay. All right, is there a motion then to approve Resolution 1509, granting a waiver of land development to Covanta Energy LLC?
So moved.
Seconded.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Look at me, huh? Thanks, Jeff.
Okay, next item on our agenda is consider 2015-2016 diesel and unleaded fuel bids for Falls Township. Mr. Gray?
Joe Arneo from the Public Works Department has secured bids through the Bucks County Consortium for the purchase of unleaded regular and ultra-low sulfur diesel fuel. The purchase of unleaded regular fuel would be from PAPCO, Inc. PAPCO is the lowest responsible bidder for unleaded regular fuel. The purchase of ultra-low sulfur diesel fuel would be from Superior Plus Energy Services. Superior is the lowest responsible bidder for diesel. At this time, the board is asked to consider PAPCO and Superior Plus Energy for unleaded regular and ultra-low sulfur diesel for the township.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Okay. Comments or questions for Mr. Gray regarding these two bids? Mr. Galloway?
No questions.
Mr. Brasky?
No, I'm okay right now.
Mr. Dents?
No.
Mr. Rocco?
This is something we do year in, year out, Pete?
Yes, we do.
Okay. No.
Okay. And it's essentially, you normally expect us to say, well, we're paying this much per gallon for each of these, but it's, you can't sort of lock in April for one gas price or diesel price that's going to last for a year. So essentially what we're doing is we're looking at companies that the market's going to fluctuate, and they're guaranteeing a sort of a range of fluctuation, also delivery costs, and so that's what we're looking for. Do we have history with these two companies, Mr. Gray?
Yes, not PAPCO, but Superior Plus, yes, we have. Last year, we used them, and we also used Petroleum Traders for the unleaded regular fuel.
Okay. And this is also through the Bucks County Consortium,
Yes, it
so
is.
it's not just us doing it. Would we do these, Mr. Clark, question for you, these two different items, unleaded regular fuel from PAPCO, ultra-low sulfur diesel fuel from Superior Plus Energy Services? I'm assuming we'd have to do two different motions, correct?
The two different companies, you
Yeah.
should do a motion for each.
Okay. All right, is any public comment? Okay, see no comment, no hands. Is there a motion then to accept or to enter an agreement with PAPCO Incorporated for unleaded regular fuel as the lowest responsible bidder for Falls Township?
So moved.
Seconded.
Okay, Mrs. Pullen?
Mr. Galloway?
Yes.
Mr. Brasky?
Yes.
Mr. Harvey?
Yes.
Mr. Dents?
Yes.
Mr. Rocco?
Yes.
Okay, is there a motion to enter an agreement with Superior Plus Energy Services for ultra-low sulfur diesel fuel for Falls Township?
So moved.
Seconded.
Mrs. Pullen?
Mr. Galloway?
Yes.
Mr. Brasky?
Yes.
Mr. Harvey?
Yes.
Mr. Dents?
Yes.
Mr. Rocco?
Yes.
Okay. All right, item 5 is consider purchasing new firearms, new guns for the Falls Township Police Department. Mr. Gray?
Chief Wilcox has secured a quote for the purchase of new guns for the police department from Firing Line, Inc. Total purchase amount would be $6,100. The board is asked to consider this purchase. Here to discuss this item further is Corporal Piasecki and Lieutenant Ward.
Okay. Gentlemen? Don't mind just, typically, I know when the last time we purchased guns several years ago, we made it a point not to really discuss the particulars of the guns we're buying. I think for reasons probably obvious. We just, our officers give them the most security we can just by not sharing what kind of weapon they're carrying. But if you don't mind just giving us an idea of why we're sort of moving off of the old weapons to the new weapons and any advantages you see.
It's just the wear and tear on the weapons itself. We went to a recent qualification about 2 months ago, and 9 of the guns failed while qualifying, so we had a question about safety. Corporal Piasecki runs the firearms division of the department. He's also an armorer. He found that while stripping the weapons, it would cost more just to get new parts to refurbish all the weapons than it would be just to go out and buy new weapons. It's probably about cut in half just buying the new weapons. He got a great deal from this company, and it just seems like a no-brainer to us. The new guns are better than the used guns, and it would be cheaper.
Okay. All right. And just if you can kind of explain, so it is a good deal, and we're all sort of impressed and thankful for the work he did. How exactly is it working in terms of financially for us?
He negotiated a deal where if we went out retail, a new gun that we're looking at was probably about $400. The price that he got was $100 per gun. So, I mean, you can't beat that.
Okay.
We're getting a total of 61 guns, so we'll have plenty of spares in case any breakdown in the future.
You trading in the old weapons?
We're trading in the old weapons. They're responsible for that. We'll sign the guns over to them. We'll use a gun dealer to do that.
Okay. All right, comments or questions for either Lieutenant Ward or Corporal Piasecki? Mr. Galloway?
No questions.
No questions.
No.
I have none.
Well, the only public comment was Mr. Kinney yelling by them, so I guess that's the public comment we have. All right, so, all right, so no comments or questions. Is there a motion then to authorize the expenditure of new guns for the police department from Firing Line Incorporated in the amount of $6,100?
So moved.
Second.
Mrs. Pullen?
Mr. Galloway?
Yes.
Mr. Boraski?
Yes.
Mr. Harvey?
Yes.
Mr. Dents?
Yes.
Mr. Rocco?
Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you very much for all the effort you put into it, for the good deal, and for giving us the information tonight.
Like I said, Corporal Piasecki did all the work. He did a great job. Thank you, Jerry.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I started that.
Okay, minutes from the April 7th, 2015 meeting. Any comments, corrections, suggestions?
Excellent minutes as always, Mrs. Poulin.
Others?
None.
Okay, is there a motion then to accept the minutes for the April 7th, 2015 meeting?
So moved.
Seconded?
All in favor? Aye. Mhm. Okay, engineers report is next. This is the March engineers report. Mr. Sullivan?
Thank you, Mr. Harvey. Only a couple items from the report. The boat docks should be installed sometime this week. There were a few minor welding repairs Mr. Arneo had to make to the docks before they could be installed. I believe those repairs are either complete today or by tomorrow at the latest. So certainly by the end of the week, those docks should be in place. One of the piles on the right-hand side, the farthest one out, was lost during wintertime. So there'll be one dock that's not installed on that side, but for the most part, it'll be usable on both sides. The 2013 road program, JDM has returned to the project and is actively working on concrete and a couple of asphalt driveways. We're being told that the landscaper will be out there tomorrow. Weather seems like it's going to rain tomorrow, so they should be out there this week. And that's all I really have. Thank you.
Okay. All right, comments or questions for Mr. Sullivan regarding his engineers report? Mr. Galloway?
No questions.
Mr. Boraski?
No questions.
Mr. Dents?
Yeah, you're like the boy that cried wolf with this road program. You said they're actively working on concrete out there?
Yes.
When did they start working on concrete?
Last week.
Okay. But there's a lot of really frustrated people over there, especially with the fact that they waited all winter because they were told it's too late to plant seed and to restore lawns. Now here we are, and it's prime time. Everybody sees grass growing everywhere but in front of their house.
Now is the time to grow grass. There's no doubt about
So
that.
you have to make sure they're getting out there to do this.
Yes, sir.
You said they're starting tomorrow?
That's what we're told. They should be out there tomorrow.
What can we do to make sure that they're doing this right?
We'll be out there every day, the whole time with them.
And this isn't Morrissey, there's actually a landscaper that does this?
They have a contracted landscaper. It's Britain Industries.
Okay. And what concrete work are they doing? What about the standing water that's along Rice Drive towards the top, towards Bernard? There's some spots along the curb line where there's standing water when it rains, and there's no drains near there. Looks like it was patched at one point already.
That will have to be corrected.
You're going to work on that, or
Of course.
is that happening soon?
They're doing, as I said, they were doing some driveways, so that they should be able to take care of that at the same time.
Okay. Now, there's also some people that complained about leaves piling up on the storm drains or the inlets on the street. That's normal, you said?
That is normal, that leaves that get into the gutter line don't necessarily wash down every
Because you don't
time.
want them in there, really.
You don't really. You can't stop leaves from blowing in the street and then getting clogged up on the drains. The township runs street sweeper on a schedule. I think Mr. Gray said that neighborhood actually is scheduled for this month. And if residents have a chance to go out and...
Tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
Oh, that's amazing. They're sweeping the street tomorrow, they're planting the grass tomorrow, and they're doing concrete work.
It's going to be a big day tomorrow.
Yeah, so next meeting, we're not going to come back here and say the same thing, right? They're actually going to be working on it.
That is correct.
And you and your staff are going to make sure.
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Gray, you're going out there again, you said?
Yes, I will. I'll be going out Thursday afternoon to visit some residences.
Okay, because there's a lot of unhappy people over there that have been waiting all winter. I said that once already.
Yes, you did. We will make them happy.
All right, thank you. That's all.
Okay. Mr. Rocco?
I can't top that. No, I noticed a lot of red on your report, though. Seems like there's a lot going on.
There seems to be a lot of new projects, some small and some pretty good size, yes.
Thank you.
And for people looking, asking about the boat ramp, Waste Management was out there, or contractors working for Waste Management were out over the past couple weeks paving the road that goes back to the Penwater campgrounds there and also back to Quaker Penn Park. And so while that work was being done, obviously we couldn't, have the docks put in, and as Mr. Sullivan said, there were some repairs that had to be done to the docks themselves. So hopefully those repairs being finished and the roadway being done, we'll be able to get out there and put the docks in soon. It's supposed to be pretty nice weather. Weather's getting nicer, I should say, and so I know people are anxious to get out there and use their boats. We did have, because of a couple issues with the weather, we weren't able to dredge correctly at normal time.
That is correct.
And so for people putting their boats in, just be very careful at low tide. We can't dredge now until mid-June, late June?
Late June.
Late June, because of regulations from Fish and Wildlife about different species of fish that are in the area that I guess they're spawning, or I don't know what they're doing. But anyway, that's they're migrating or doing something, and we can't dredge at that time. So once June has passed, we'll be able to dredge. But until that time, if you're putting your boat in, just be cautious at low tide. And we are obviously aware of the fact that that has to be done, and it's sort of a yearly maintenance on that. Just want to note a caution for people about that. All right, so comments, or we had comments or questions. Motion to accept the engineer's report dated April 17th, 2015.
So moved.
Seconded.
All in favor? Aye. Okay. All right, bill list, bills for this month in the amount of $1,778,319.28. Of that, roughly, excuse me, of that roughly 1.8 million, about 1 million of the 1.8 is payroll and health insurance. In addition, we have about $41,000 in electricity. About $67,000 is escrow, which is actually money put up by developers, and so it's not township money. And I know there was another big number in here. Right. The new street lights are on there. That was, I know that was in the back.
130 something.
Yeah. New street lights are on there. That's roughly 130,000, 132,000. And also there was workman's compensation insurance, which is 100,000, 120,000, excuse me. So as usual, there's certain big chunks of things that end up, making out most of the bill. And always over half the bill is in salary and insurance. Comments or questions for Mr. Gray regarding the bill list?
We should stop paying the engineer until he gets the road program straightened out, maybe? Is that a bad idea? He told us he's going to take care of it. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt this month, I guess. No questions or comments.
Okay, all right. All right, is there a motion to pay the bills, $1,778,319.28?
So moved.
Second.
Mrs. Poland?
Mr. Galloway?
Yes.
Mr. Bransky?
Yes.
Mr. Harvey?
Yes.
Mr. Dent?
Yes.
Mr. Rocco?
Yes.
Okay. We do not have need for an executive session. Mr. Gray?
Just one item tonight. I just want to make an announcement that the extra space storage Mylars are ready for signature. That's all I have.
Thank you. And board comment. Mr. Rocco, start with you.
Yeah, just, I did notice in Birch Valley, Thornridge, and some of Fairless that the new LED lights are installed, so they look good. That's all I have. Quick meeting.
Okay.
This be a record, actually, I think.
Could be. Mr. Dents?
I might have made some jokes with Mr. Sullivan about the road program, and I know there's a lot of people that are really, really frustrated with it. And I have full confidence that him and Mr. Gray are going to take care of it, and are working hard to make sure James DeMarcy, who is the problem in this, they're the chink in the chain here. They're very difficult to work with. They don't want to be cooperative. But everything is going to get straightened out, I'm sure. So I know it's easy for me to say, just be patient, but please be patient. Also, our Live Here, Spend Here campaign, there's a brand-new video that was made. Matt Markey and the CEDC did a fantastic job. They featured Thornridge Hardware as the first business. Yeah, right after this meeting, you'll be able to watch it on TV, on the TV station. I'm sure it'll be on the internet, on the cable channel as well, or that is the TV. But they did a really, really nice job. I'm not sure which business they're featuring next month, but hopefully we can just keep rolling with them. Do you know?
We have a company in mind. We're going to check with them first to make sure that they're in agreement.
That's all I have for the moment.
Okay. Mr. Boraski?
Yeah, just an announcement. The Fallsington Elementary School is having a 2015 car show held by the school and the PTO. It's Saturday, May 16th, 2015, 10 to 2. I think they have a Facebook page. It's Fallsington PTO Car Show on Facebook, and I'm going to try to get this up on the website too. Just somebody's name and phone number to contact. That's
Okay.
all I have.
Mr. Galloway?
No comment tonight.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to echo Mr. Dentz's thanks to Mr. Markey and Mr. Ostapovich, who put in a lot of work with putting together the video that's going to air right after this. They were looking for somebody to do sort of the intro and sort of a closing, roughly 30 seconds before, about 45 seconds afterwards. Tried to get Mr. Dentz to do it, but he wasn't interested. And so
They didn't tell me who was going to be doing it.
yeah. So I ended up being the the guinea pig, and I can tell you it gave me a whole new appreciation for people that end up doing these videos. It's my part in the video is maybe a minute and 15 seconds total, and it took us about an hour to film it, just because it's. Well, no, it wasn't. Well, you know, I need to go to the barber soon, but no, just it's tough to do when you're not looking at a script and there's no teleprompter and you're trying to remember something, you don't want to leave anything out, and then air conditioning kicks on just when you think you're done, and something goes. It's a challenge, and no one talking to my ear to tell me what to say. It was like a lot of the people on TV. So all new appreciation for that, and for the hard work they put in, because I felt bad keeping him here, on Sunday afternoon as I'm trying to get things right, and I keep messing up or mispronouncing something, and I had to start over again and do it over and do it over and do it over. So I felt bad for Mr. Markey having to be here dealing with me screwing up so much, but and that's just for a small segment. And so the video you're going to see in a few minutes after I shut up is really a lot of hard work goes into it. It may not seem very long, but it's a lot of hard work. So I thank them. And we do have a couple companies that have put in emails, I guess, to Mr. Gray that are interested in having videos of their companies made. And so I know we're going to try and we're going to work with them. And then we have a couple other companies in mind that we're going to be contacting. We are having also a logo contest. We think it's a neat idea to have a logo for Live Here, Spend Here. And we have one entry so far in terms of an idea that would sort of incorporate everything. We are looking for people out there, that artists that want to put together a logo that'll show up on the videos, as well as be put on posters and given out to businesses, and they can put it in their storefronts and their windows, etc. So there is a May 1st deadline for that. I know there's information on the Township website, so please take a look at that. And if you have a business that you would think should be featured, or if you own a business and you want it featured, you can send an email to Mr. Gray here at the Township building, and he's coordinating that through Mr. Markey and Mr. Ostapovich. And with that, thank everybody for their time, and this is a pretty short meeting. But we did some good stuff, another business coming in, and new firearms for our police officers, and some good fuel costs for our vehicles. So thank everybody for their time and effort, and I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you.